Under the Silver Lake. David Robert Mitchell, A24 production that has been pushed back from June of last year to December of last year, and now kind of dropped in no man's land. It originally premiered at Cannes, or Con 2018.
There you go.
And
Cans.
Cans. American.
These cans of beans.
Uncultured Americans. And it was considered divisive. And, in watching this, I can totally see why that was the characterization it was given, only because it's not necessarily offensive in any way, but it does get a bit confusing. And it's like this like neo-noir conspiracy film that is sprawling. And, I'm not very familiar with David Robert Mitchell's other work. I'm aware of It Follows, but I don't really know much about it. I haven't seen it. And it seems like he was really trying to get at something here that he never quite landed the ship on. But there's enough here where I was left pretty intrigued. And I think with maybe a little bit more refining, this could be like the first look at a director who's ready to break out and really do some really interesting work. But this film really is buoyed by a pretty decent performance by Andrew Garfield, who I feel like it's post Spider-Man and hasn't really had a lot of roles that are too meaty. I mean, Silence, I guess, would have been the last.
That's what I immediately thought of as well.
But even that, I think, was a film that was pretty forgettable, even though it had two strong performances from him and Driver in it. Riley Keough is great in this. Topher Grace. I thought the performances were all pretty good. Jimmy Simpson jumps in and out of this at times, and
nice.
It's a really fun when he does. My biggest critique is it just is really confusing. There's a lot of conspiracy in this. There's a lot of like connecting the dots, and at times I felt pretty lost watching it. Like, who is this person again? Why is this? Why are they doing this? Or how did they connect these things? But there's some really cool parts. There's a band called Jesus and the Three Dracula Brides or something like that, which I think is supposed to be like a Father John Misty type band. Yeah, where they're kind of like playing on this like
Jesus and the Brides of Dracula.
Yeah, there you go. And the Brides of Dracula. And they really play on this like folky rock thing. And he gets led to this person called the Songwriter at one point. And the way he gets there is that he stumbles onto this guy after confronting Jesus and being like, hey, like, tell me about this song you wrote. And he's like, I didn't even write that one. That came from the songwriter. And he's like, which ones did you write? And he's like, I wrote everyone but this one, this one, this one. And he's like, so you wrote all the ones that aren't hits? And like, it was a pretty funny, I think, commentary on how like the people who are talented in Hollywood aren't actually as talented as you probably think. There's also a lot about like gender that comes to the top when you really think about the themes of this movie. A lot about how
a girl going missing.
Yeah, a girl goes missing is kind of like the plot driver, the mystery at the center of all this. But really, it's this idea that the women within Hollywood seem to kind of pass along from these powerful men to powerful men, and are kind of like passed along without really getting much say within the system. And I thought that was pretty thoughtful, but didn't totally land. So I think with a little more refining, this could have been a really good movie, but overall pretty middling for me. Do you plan on checking this one out?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. See, I was, aware of the movie for some time. Obviously, we both got on the radar after I went to Con, but A24 only put in theaters for 1 week, the week right before Endgame. They just took it right out, and it was only in, I think, like 3 theaters that week. So I don't know if I see it, but at least they put it on VOD right away. But definitely strikes itself as just kind of one of those like sunk cost movies. They're like, well, it definitely is like more of an artsy, like shoot your shot kind of movie. And if it doesn't land with enough critics, it's kind of hard to see the movie selling itself enough to make any money. So I understand why they just ripped it right out of theaters, basically. But yeah, I definitely want to give it a shot. Just didn't have time. Would you say does it have an identity as a LA movie? As the name would suggest, it's set in Los Angeles, Silver Lake neighborhood. But I think LA movies is a really cool subgenre, especially within noirs, within mystery films. And like Destroyer last year. I thought was really great and had a cool LA identity. But did you think this said then? Obviously, the story is definitely involved with LA. You think's unique to LA entertainment industry. But do you think it would fit into that category well?
Yeah, I think it would, especially because the way that they're at the beginning are jumping around from like these parties in these different neighborhoods. There's really a distinct feel of like where they're going within the
Oh, that's
story, and
cool.
there's even a part where, and it's a bit of a on the nose metaphor, but they're talking about being like kept in these like mausoleums almost in a way, like trapped within them. And he like looks out the Hollywood sign, and it's just kind of like, oh, what's the real mausoleum, man? Is it this Hollywood
Ooh,
system? Is it
gotcha.
this life we're living in here? Which, like I said, a little on the nose, but like it's effective. So definitely a LA movie, and I really would recommend checking it out, if not for checking out something thoughtful and interesting. And it's video on demand at this point, so like a couple bucks on your Amazon Prime account won't hurt.